Welcome to the program. This is Woodburn Rising. My name is Bruce Crane, and today I'm pleased to have Kristin Wierenga from the Woodburn Aquatic Center. She's the manager there. Welcome, Kristin.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bruce.
Sure. So, I use the pool, the Woodburn Aquatic Center. Of course, there's more involved there than that. So, it's fun to have you on to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you.
But first, I want to congratulate you. You have a new daughter.
Yes, thank you.
As I understand.
She's 6 months old, has a couple teeth. So,
wow, cool.
Yeah, not quite crawling yet, but she's really active. So, it's
right.
fun. Yeah.
Great, great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, you came to the pool. You've been there a couple of years now?
Yeah, it's been about 2.5 years.
And you've worked in Woodburn, and you're a local lady. You lived in the area for a long time?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Silverton, and so that's where I'm originally from. And then a couple years back, we bought a house and moved to Woodburn. And before this position, I worked for Woodburn Area Tourism, which was part of the Woodburn Chamber of Commerce. And that was a lot of tourism marketing and promotion and working with, I worked with the city and I worked with other nonprofit agencies and businesses to really promote the area. So
that sounds like an interesting job.
It was fun. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, it was a part-time position. So when this came up, and I'm a swimmer, I swam in high school, and so when this came up, I thought it was a good opportunity.
And the pool needed some marketing and needed some changes.
Yeah, I think my marketing background has really been beneficial. So
yeah, good.
Yeah.
So the pool is one of Woodburn's good assets, and there's been a turnaround, and which started happening before you came, or you were hired during?
I was hired like 6 months or so after what we call the turnaround project. And so that was when they brought in a consultant and his team to kind of take a look at the situation and find ways to make the center more cost efficient. Because at that time, the center was needing a huge subsidy from the general fund. It was around $500,000. And so
annually,
Annually, yeah, thank you. So the goal of the project was to really make it more self-sustaining. And today we're right around $250,000 subsidy out of the general fund. So it cut that completely in half. So
when that started, when the city brought in the consultant, there was a target, was there not? And you've reached that, or there's more to go, or how is that working?
Yeah, so the goal for the consultant was to reach a 50% cost recovery rate. And so that's where we cover 50% of the operational cost with our revenue. And so currently we're right around 46-47%. Each year we're just getting closer and closer to that 50% mark. And so we're really close to that. And I don't know that we'll ever be 100%.
But I'm kind of, so if the subsidy was around 500, then what was the pool budget? So the pool has always been bringing in revenue because we all pay to swim there.
Yeah.
So how's that percentage kind of worked?
So previous years, I don't have all of that information memorized per se, but currently our total budget is around $500,000, and we bring in around $250,000 in revenue. And the it's a little bit less than $250,000. The center has never seen that high of revenue numbers in a very long time, and so
we can blame that on you. I mean,
yeah,
I don't mean, but you know what I mean.
I know. Yeah, I like to think that maybe I've had some sort of impact, but in the past couple years, the revenue has increased about 30%, and our activity participation has increased. And so it's not just all about revenue for me. It's really important that we get the community in using this facility. And so our activity participation has increased as well, between 25 to 35% for our various activities and swim lessons. So it's definitely getting more use and seeing more of the community come in. So that's wonderful.
Well, I know I go over there periodically, and us swimmers that go in, we complain that one of the teams are in there, because they take up a lot of lanes, and we like our own lane to swim in.
Yeah.
But has there been more use for the teams? Have been more teams brought in? That seems like a positive thing, because since the general fund is from the city, is subsidizing the pool, then schools using it, that seems like a good use of the pool. So how's that going in terms of school using it, and do you give them a benefit or a break in terms of cost and that sort of thing?
So we do have several teams that come in and use the pool, and part around the turnaround project was to open up the pool to have various activities going on at various times. So even though we might have a swim team in, we still have lap swimming, we still have open swim, water fitness classes and swim lessons. So I do want to mention that, because traditional aquatic facilities will close down, or it's only open to the teams when they come in, but we still have that.
And I think that happened before you came.
Yeah.
There was, because I think from 3:30 to 5:30 or something, I forget the times, you couldn't lap swim.
Yeah.
But now you can.
Any time of the day, you can come in and do lap swim and water exercise, which is really nice. But yeah, we do have several swim teams that use the facility. So we have our own Woodburn swim team, which is a Barracuda swim team.
Right.
And they use the facility. And then we also have North Marion swim team, and they use the facility. And then Woodburn High School had a swim team, and they were using the facility at one point, and they have recently decided to not continue with the local Woodburn swim team. But then we've also had Silverton swim team.
What happened to the Woodburn swim team?
I don't know exactly, but they used to have water polo at 1.2, and so now we don't have either, which is unfortunate.
I know my daughter played water polo in high school, which is that's a tough
sport. Yeah. I've heard stories. And then we've had Silverton High School utilize our facility when Silverton Pool has been closed, and then we had a Newburgh team come in as well. So it's been really nice that we can also help the neighboring communities as they have needs to fulfill that. So, yeah.
What about the grade schools use the pool too? Explain that program, or
yeah. So we have what's called a 4th grade swim lesson program, and the history on that is that Woodburn Together used to fund the program, and then kind of when I came on board, their funding changed, and so they weren't able to continue with the funding.
Woodburn Together is?
It's a nonprofit organization, and then the Woodburn Kiwanis group stepped in and said, we want to, adopt this program and make it our own, and really, participate in this program, because it's such an amazing one. So how it works is every 4th grader in Woodburn gets to come in and take swim lessons. And it's not just the Woodburn School District, but it also includes St. Luke's, which is a private school.
Right.
And so the 4th graders come in and they take swim lessons. They get a total of 3 hours of swim lessons over about the course of a month. And it's really nice, because some of these kids, it's the only time they will ever have swim lessons in their life.
Right. Yeah.
And so, we're looking at ways, if we have funding, can we expand that in the future, give them more opportunities to utilize the skills they learn in their swim lessons. So.
Right. So, expand. Would you like to see that expanded? If you had more funding, is there a way to either have the kids in more often, have not just 4th graders who are 10-ish, 10 years old?
Yeah.
Is there another age group? Or what do you see there? Do you see any expansion or need?
If we had funding, I would love to have every grade come in and take some lessons, because I think it's just so important. And it's a physical activity for the kids. It's not just learning a skill, but they're being active.
And that, in the schools, that's kind of secondary today, as I understand it, where there used to be more activities, or runaround time, or gym time, or whatever you might call it.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly how they do their recess and PE and stuff, but but yeah, I mean, if we could expand it, if we had funding to maybe do 3rd grade and 4th grade, so then the students would not just come one year, but then the next year they'd get follow-up lessons. So that would be one way we could do it potentially. Another way would be to have them in the water more frequently. So instead of 3 hours, maybe they got 5 hours of lesson time. So
is there a better time teach, you know, like learning language, there's a certain age, I'm not sure what it is, whether it's second, third, fourth grade or something.
Yeah.
Is there an opportunity, you know, a best time to teach kids to swim, get them in, you know, they say a young kid, you throw them in the water, and babies can swim automatically. You know, I guess from the womb or something, I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
they're used to swimming. You know, I think the earlier someone can start that experience in the water, the better, for sure. If we were talking in regards to the fourth grade swim lessons, you know, definitely try and get them in earlier, you know, second, third grade. Fourth grade's a good one. It's just traditionally, I think, what they've done. But I think sometimes habits do develop by fourth grade for sure. And some of the students that we have, you know, are scared of the water. They don't want to get in. You know, they might cry. They might stay on the edge of the pool. And so, you know, if we have the opportunity to bring them in when they're a little bit younger, you know, we might be able to help them understand water, help them understand that they can swim and they can float, and it's not something to be scared of. And I think there's a lot of that. There's a lot of overcoming some of those mental challenges, and I think it's fun. I love teaching our instructors how to work with students who have that fear, and getting over that and understanding that it can be a safe thing, it can be a fun thing, and
it seems like the pool, you know, additional funding and that kind of thing does anyone have time to seek grants, write grants? Is anything going on in that area?
Yeah, so that'd be my job, along with everything else I do. So I don't have tons of time to commit to that, but I have written grants before. We actually got a grant through the Woodburn Chamber of Commerce, the Fiesta Mexicana. They have a grant. They had one, I don't know if they still do, but we got some grant funding for that for our $5 swim lesson week, which really quick, I'll talk about that. In the summertime, for 1 week, we have a $5 swim lesson. And so basically what that means is there's 5 swim lessons for $5.
Wow.
So it's
That's
super
a good deal.
Yeah. And so we have you know, several hundred students that come through that week and take swim lessons. And so I wrote the grant for that to try and help cover our cost and allow, you know, those hundreds of students to come in and take lessons for a really good deal. And then there's other grants out there that I've been looking at. There's a grant to get, that you can apply for to get life jackets for your facility, and there's all kinds of grants and stuff. But I have also met with a few businesses in the community to partner on sponsors and have them sponsor a couple programs. So Dutch Brothers have sponsored, Les Schwab is sponsored, West Coast Bank, when it was West Coast Bank, sponsored. So it is just kind of a matter of me having the time to find those sponsorship opportunities. And like Dutch Brothers, their sponsorship was to help pay for our scholarship program. So we do have a scholarship program where if someone can't afford our prices, they are welcome to apply for a scholarship. And that might help reduce the rate for them, because we want everyone to be able to participate. And that was something they didn't have before the turnaround project. And we actually had about $9,000 in scholarships of people that came to utilize that. So yeah.
So it's likely to get a reduced monthly cost, or it could work in a number of ways, I guess.
Yeah, so they could use it towards swim lessons or towards a membership, and they would get a reduced fee. And it's based off of income and number of family members living in a household. But we always ask that someone that is part of the scholarship program, that they invest a little bit financially into the program, so we don't have anyone on 100% scholarship. Yeah.
I know, I always say that you give a little bit, and then you're invested, and then you're a participant, committed.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
But the important thing, I would think there would be organizations, or there might be. I've done some grant writing myself, but you know, someone out there that says all kids need to learn how to swim, and that's where the school program is really good. You know, you hear, you know, families go somewhere on the Willamette, you know, during the nice weather, and you know, kids gets out in the river and he's washed down, and if you don't know how to swim, you're really in trouble.
Yeah.
So I would hope there would be, you know, more of that kind of funding, and it seems like a positive thing to do. I'm glad it's happening in the schools, and I hope more of it goes on.
Yeah, definitely.
So the other thing, I know there's the Zumba classes and other classes going on. So what, besides just swimming and teaching kids how to swim, and
Yeah.
the seniors come in and do exercises. What else is going on?
Yeah. So we have added a few things since I've been there. We used to have a storage room in the back, and in order to expand, we kind of had to get a little creative, and so we did create a fitness classroom, and we're also utilizing what used to be our storage room for some of our equipment, like our treadmills and our ellipticals and bikes and free weights.
Which used to be up front, now they're...
Yeah. So in order to accommodate the growth that we've had, we've kind of had to move things around a little bit, but we do offer fitness classes like yoga and Zumba, and we're adding a boot camp class in February. We're also...
What's a boot camp?
Boot camp, it's a cardio, like you mix cardio with weight resistance, and so it's kind of like a really energetic class.
But
yeah.
using light hand weights
Yep.
and
Yep.
ankle weights, or...
Yeah, you could. They use like kettlebells and different weights. They use body weight. So you might do some jumping jacks and things like that to get your heart rate up. But then you also use some weight to help tone.
Yeah.
So in addition, we're adding a personal training, water or land personal training, and so that's one-on-one or group work with a personal trainer, and that's all individualized based off of what the person wants. So if a swimmer wants to go faster, they could work with a personal trainer on how to make themselves faster. Yeah, yeah. So it's really cool, the different things we've been able to add and the different services we've been able to provide, because you reach different markets within the community and different segments by offering these different items, and so that helps us bring more people in to utilize the center. I think as we grow, we'll just have to deal with the space that we have. Our equipment that's in the back is not the ideal space for that equipment, and so at some point in the future, if there was opportunity to expand, it'd be amazing. We'd have lots of ways to fill the space.
You mean kind of add some room on, like maybe, I don't know how much space you would want, a couple of 100 square feet or 500 square feet or something?
It's hard. We could do with whatever. If we had a donor come in and say, I want to donate to this and build a big classroom space, we could use a giant classroom. We could use space to put more equipment, like we could get more treadmills and more bikes, and maybe some weight machines, because right now we just have free weights. So it just kind of depends on what we had to work with, but yeah.
What about I know the consultant regarding the association building, they talked about a community center. Has that ever been, like what you're doing over at the pool, just down the street a little bit, have another building where you could provide some of these additional services?
Yeah.
Has that been mentioned at all or thought of? Because the consultant did say that was what the community thought.
One of the options, yeah. I haven't been a big part of the discussion. I'm aware of what they're talking about. I do know that Parks and Recreation or Community Services might utilize that space if that's what what is desired. But
honestly, if if there is some additional space somewhere, it might be more difficult to go off-site, so to speak.
We could build programs almost in any space. There's so many ways you could grow, depending on what space you have to use. I don't know if our members would go. It'd be something that we'd have to kind of see, but
it's exciting, the idea you have different programs, and if you find one that the community says, or they say by coming, that we really want this, we need this, then talk to the powers that be over the city in terms of providing another space. I think I like that idea. That's a great idea, what you're doing, trying different things, and you have a few people who are interested and you have a small space, great. But if you get a bunch of people that come and you start crowding the space,
Yeah.
then you can look at something different.
Exactly, yeah. And something else too that I didn't mention that's really nice about our new fitness classroom is, I don't know if I should say new because we've had it for a little while, but it also doubles as our party rental room. So before we didn't have a room to have birthday parties, and now it can be used for birthday parties. We can set up tables and chairs, and that's a really nice room to have for
Right.
that. So
And then they can
yeah.
put their suits on and jump in the pool.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know some families who have taken advantage of that.
Yeah.
It's, a good thing to have.
Yep. It's been nice.
So what else is going on? What's
Yeah, well, I'm really excited about the personal training that's coming up, and a couple of new things that we've done is we've added a junior lifeguard camp and a Make a Splash day camp. I think they've done junior lifeguard camps in the past, but the Make a Splash camp is new. It's something we've added, and so we'll have camps over spring break, and then we'll have camps over the summer as well.
Make a Splash camp?
Mm-hmm.
Is that doing cannonballs and seeing big splashes?
Well, could be. That basically it's a camp for younger kids, 4 to 9 years old, and they come and they do story time in the water, and they do arts and crafts, and they do all sorts of really fun stuff. And so we have one of our lead lifeguards run that camp, and it's a great experience for our staff, a great experience for the students that take the camp. And then the junior lifeguard camp is more for like students from 10 to 15 in age, and they learn how to react in an emergency situation. They learn some basic rescue skills. So they get to get in the water and do some rescuing. They learn CPR and some basic first aid. So that's really helpful knowledge for them to be able to use in their day-to-day lives. And hopefully they'll become a lifeguard when they get old enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And work at the pool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah.
So one of the issues I know that through the years, and something that the staff was always fighting, was the temperature of the pool. So talk about that a little bit in terms of, the teams, the swimmers who are out there, young muscular people swimming very fast. They wanted a certain temperature.
Yeah.
And the little kids who are taking swim lessons, and the seniors that are doing, kind of mild exercises in the pool, they want another temperature. So how can you kind of please everybody?
Yeah, well, it's really hard to please everyone. We just have to kind of try and find a balance in the middle. But I know lap swimmers, they want it between 78, 79. I had one lady tell me 80 was the maximum, 80 degrees, which 80 would be too cold for a lot of people. So we can't have it 80 degrees. And then for water fitness classes, 80, 81, depending on the class. And then therapy, if you're doing therapy, it'd be amazing if it was in the high 80s, 90. But then if we had it at 90, it'd be way too warm for the other activities. So we just try and find.
What about the young kids? Don't they want about the same in terms of high 80s, 90s or something?
Yeah, I'd say mid 80s, mid to high 80s for some lessons would be really nice. So right where we're at right now is about 83, and we found a balance to where, it's not too cold for people doing, therapy type stuff, and for swim lessons it's not too cold, but then it's not too hot for our lap swimmers or our water exercise classes. So yeah, we've hopefully found a good balance. In an ideal world, if we got a donor for this, we could maybe, separate. I think you mentioned this before we talked about it. Somehow creating a way to where we could have 2 different bodies of water at 2 different temperatures. Right, but that wouldn't be able to happen unless we had a lot of additional funds to do that. But yeah.
Is that something that you would recommend if the funding were available? That, we're not meeting everyone's need. We can't meet everyone's needs because it's impossible to do that.
Yeah.
So would that be a good alternative, do you think? Or is the pool too far gone, or too much of a white elephant, so to speak?
I think in an ideal world, it would be awesome to have, 2 bodies of water, one with a cooler temp for lap swimmers, and then one with a warmer temp for therapy and stuff. And a lot of pools have that. And so if we, at some point, in the future, had funding to find a way to make that work, it would be amazing. Although there's so many things that if we had funding, we could do this, or if we had funding, we could do
Sure.
this. So it's like,
Like
well, where?
add some space, or
Yeah,
this
add
or
space
that.
or that. So it's like, where does that fall on the priority list is hard to say. But I have seen some pools, some setups where they have that 2 bodies of water, or they have a wall in the middle of one big body of water, and they can do 2 different temperatures. So, but not only does it, do you have the cost of putting in the barrier, but then you might have to do separate filtration systems, and there's a lot to it that's behind the scenes that
Separate
people don't
heating
think about.
systems and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so not only would it be like a one-time cost, but then you're looking at ongoing maintenance costs and utility costs and things like that. So, yeah.
So we're moving forward. I'm really glad to hear, and I know as a user of the pool, I think the temperature is kind of just right.
Good.
And I've talked to people at the pool, and every senior isn't happy, but they say it's okay, and that's an improvement from what it was. And I know it costs, every degree in temperature costs
several $1,000s a year.
too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just kind of trying to find that balance, and I think hopefully we found it. So
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Well, Kristin, good. I'm glad you're there, and
Thank you.
I appreciate, and I think the city should appreciate, what you've done in your 2.5 years, and
Thank you.
making it more sustainable, if you will, and hopefully more so, and bringing more people to use the pool.
Yeah.
So thank you, and thanks for coming in today to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.